Hello, my name is Wally Hassan Jr. This is my video for the International Business Project for Globalization, and this is my slideshow. So first, one of the requirements is for us to talk about what we thought about the two videos that we had to watch. Now, the first one is called "Did You Know?" and on this slide, I pretty much I describe what my initial first thought was on the video, and honestly, that video it packed a lot of information and a lot of obviously facts that the average person doesn't know or any of us probably knew before watching. However, what shocked me the most and what kind of caught my eye the most was how some of the studies and data they provided throughout the video, uh, the information that they used, and kind of how you know some of the studies are just very eye-opening, and you just never really would think about things like that. uh, for one example, it's just like how one of the facts they provided was there's 8.5 billion searches on Google every day. uh, Another one was that another study just showed some numbers about ChatGPT, and like going down the list, going on and on, how crazy and crazy some of these studies show. However, the crazy part to it all is that this is a video, and these datas are from 2023. So it's you can almost like assume that the numbers and everything will just be enhanced since time has passed, and we're going in the same direction since we have been since 2023 and even before that. So, for example, according to the website, The Social Shepherd, in 2025, there are approximately 500 to 600 million tweets a day on Twitter. So, again, this is kind of one of those facts that in the video it was around 400 or 350, and now it just keeps growing and growing as much as the internet is being enhanced, and how technology is adapting and improving itself over time. But that's my first slide. My next slide kind of continues that. I wanted to put two slides because two things really caught my eye. The other thing was halfway through this video, I kind of started to realize, it occurred to me that when I was watching the video, some of the studies just show that how dependent we are on technology nowadays, and it always obviously hasn't always been like that, from the 70s and the 80s. Obviously technology didn't play as much as a big part in society, in how the world runs like it does today. But even knowing that technology does play a big part, I still was unaware on how much we actually depend on it. And while realizing these things on how dependent we are as humans on technology, it also was very eye-opening and very concerning, because the way we are using technology nowadays, you can see the road we're going down, and not every road is very beneficial towards the human society. For example, right now, artificial intelligence is one of those things that's improving every single day, and the more we improve it, the more dangerous it can become. Whether that's feeding humans, feeding the public false information, creating a video that is false to protect and support someone's subjective opinion, political opinion. That could be a problem in politics, in produce, goods, sports, wherever the case may be. That could be a problem to society. And experiencing that and watching this video was very eye-opening. I searched up one of the fun facts, and one of the fun facts was only 34% of consumers realize that they're directly experiencing AI. So that kind of goes to what I was saying about how nowadays most people that come across an artificial intelligence video are not aware, and that can be very misleading and that can be very dangerous because people can spread false information and it will spread like wildfire. And that's what we've been seeing so far, and I believe it'll only get worse as time goes on. Hopefully it doesn't. Hopefully we can find a boundary and some limitations and some sustainability. But if not, that's the path we're going down. My third slide is my first uh, idea on the globalization video. Now, what surprised me about this video was, just simply how much affected we are by globalization. And you don't really think about it because, you just kind of see it everywhere, in this, especially in this country, there's a whole bunch of different looking people in this country, coming from different backgrounds, migrating over here. There's not really one leading race here. We're very dependent on one another, obviously, and we work together, and that's what makes America what America is, right? And even though America, as citizens, we're very dependent on one another, America is very dependent on each and every country in the world, and vice versa. For every country is just like how they're dependent on America, especially when it comes to goods, trades, and policies and production. Each country has their upside and downside. My fourth slide is about the same video. And another thing I took away from this video is how beneficial uh, globalization is on how much you count goods and produce and products we use as a country on a day-to-day basis. However, on the flip side, just like how it was hinted in the video, buying and selling in overseas markets offers the potential businesses to develop and expand opportunity, but not without risk. For example, an upside of trading will be increased consumer choice and lower prices. However, the produce that produces job loss and economic inequality. I gain that everything has a balance, and one thing can be all beneficial to one person and can be the complete opposite to another. On the right is a chart showing how much foreign trade volume we have as a country, and it's steadily increasing each year. And that goes to show exactly what I'm saying and what the video was saying, and how much how dependent we are on each other. And it's kind of crazy to see the predicament we are and how countries are at wars. And when we're so dependent on each other, that's obviously it's not beneficial to be at war. Now, the next question on the assignment was to define globalization and how it will affect our personal, educational, and professional life. Now, what I said was globalization is a growing process of countries through trade, information, and people. Globalization plays a part in every aspect of life. Personally, globalization can affect your personal life by welcoming different cultures around you as peers, and which happened in my situation. I went to the biggest and most diverse high school in the state at Chandler High School, so it exposed me to diverse cultures, ideas, and perspectives from around the world. I personally thought it was really cool to hear from different people and their experiences throughout life so far, but that's just me. I thought that was pretty cool. Globalization can also affect your educational life because it offers a range of information and research resources which could again open and change your perspective or outlook or allow you to expand your knowledge and skills. Now, in school, we get taught uh, things all around the world, and that the point and the purpose of that is so we can have some understanding of what's going on in the world that we live in. And I see that same philosophy in globalization and in people that you meet. Uh, One of my good friends in high school was from Japan, and when you listen to someone else's opinion, it shows how differently we think sometimes as humans, simply off where we come from. Globalization has not affected me personally yet because I am still in college, but I am assuming that it could affect you because it requires you to do somewhat of an understanding of what is going on globally. Also, you can be caught up in a workspace where you have to collaborate with diverse teams and diverse peers, or adapting and adjusting to a different cultural background. My next slide is global technology impact in the 21st century, which was the next question. Technology has changed and improved in the 21st century as impacted the world, including globalization. It has lowered costs and sped up communication and transportation. It has invented and allowed quick global data sharing and interaction between cultures. Lastly, it helped with economic integration, cultural exchange, and political involvement through the internet and social media. The spread of knowledge and technology across borders has intensified because of globalization. However, it also brings challenge and the risk of cultures beginning be, becoming too similar. Technology is creating a more connected but more complicated and potentially uneven global environment. That's from Jang Ho, 2018. I'll show you my references page at the end. This next slide is about the global economy. In the last 30 years, the global economy has adapted due to increased worldwide globalization and by technological progress. This has led to the quick growth of emerging markets, which have become key parts of this whole cause. The balance of global power has shifted and recently been more of a deglobalization and regionalization because of increasing trade problems with geopolitical issues. Three themes have contributed to this shift: the great disinflation, the rise of China, and the rise of government debt. Uh, even though globalization has been very beneficial to the world, at different times it could also be very problematic. And specifically throughout the time of COVID, it was very hard to do trade and trade goods and produce because obviously the pandemic that the world was in. Also, the caused a very great deal of inflation, which can also shift the globalization. Uh, how China is becoming more advanced. It's also they're becoming less needy of trade because they're figuring out a way to do it themselves. And the rise of government debt. Each government has different government policies. However, each government can always all governments can also be in debt. For example, a lot of people think that the United States is the powerhouse country and they're number one in everything, but we are very much in debt, and that can raise as a caution to other countries and doing business and doing trade because we are very much in debt. Also, the policies of tariffs from each government can also either hinder or benefit the process of importing goods to each place. Like for the US right now, they are trying to put tariffs on goods coming from China and trying to build a trade or a trust to where they can have a working system. Obviously, there's problems with that because obviously each country isn't just going to agree to our terms. But the global economy is always changing and always adapting and always having new policies. And what worked 5 years ago won't work now. And it'll just be like that for on and on and on. Lastly, this is my reference page, citing all of the sources in MLA format and where I got my information from. So feel free to go to these links and go to these authors and go to these websites to dig deeper into these certain topics and where I got my information. That's the end of my slideshow. Thank you for watching, and I appreciate any of the feedback and the replies. Okay, thank you.